still there. It's like still in your mind. It never goes away. It just never
Yeah.
does.
No, that's something that's going to be ingrained as a parent for the rest of your life. And especially I think that when you have other children, like it's an unintentional side effect that now you kind of associate anything and everything that goes wrong with the possibility in your mind. And it's hard. Like my wife and I are on different planes with that. Like she'll be the first one to jump on, oh my God, she's sick. She's doing, what could it be? And I'm like, no, 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 no. Let's not jump there. Let's take it, pump the brakes a little bit. But at the same time, we're parents that have gone through this. We've seen the worst. We've seen, you know, things that don't seem to be that make any sense that can turn out to be something big. And the reality of it is once you have a child with this, a bruise, a cough, a headache, it's never just that anymore. It's always
Mhm.
cause for concern, and that's okay. It's okay to be concerned about it. I know I would sit here and say, don't worry so much about it, but I'd be preaching to a choir that is like, yeah, whatever. It's just not possible for you to really ever put that aside. And I think no matter what, I think that had our daughter, survived this, I think that we'd be in the same boat every single day, just worrying and wondering and hoping for the best, but at the same time being cautiously optimistic. And I think that's okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that shows, if anything, that you're a great parent because you're watching these things very closely. The only thing that I can say is just to, essentially not let it run who you are and change who you are. Yes, we are different now. We have a shirt that we made. It says I'm broken, but in the middle the words, the two letters okay, are different colors. So it's like, yeah, we're good, but we're broken at the same time. But we're the same people, and it's, that's a big thing that I want. Other thing too is support of people to come around you and be okay to talk to you and say the wrong thing if you want to. Let us correct you, but just be there and be supportive. And that's a huge thing for us, is to be able to have that all the time. And unfortunately, a lot of people I think are scared to talk to us because they don't know if they're going to set us off or they're going to say the wrong thing. There's no way to know unless you try, but the best thing you can
Yeah.
do as a person is just be there for us and let us know that you're there, because that support system is huge when it comes to us just surviving day to day.
Yeah. Like, my village held me up in the beginning. Like, they were bringing me shampoo and soap, and my daughter made sure that I had clothes, and they were bringing things for Max to do. Like that Fire Stick in the TV that like saved our lives, because you're like room bound. Like when COVID was going on, we weren't allowed. I couldn't go get my own drink of water. Like they would go get the water for me and bring it back. Like the only times I could leave the room was when I was going to the restroom and then coming back, or going to take a shower and coming back. So like you're room bound. So like they saved me. They were sending me word searches to do and crosswords, and like I ended up loving the things that I loved and Max loved in the beginning were what they would bring around for the kids to do, like slime. I would put together Lego kits. Like anything that was like getting my mind off of something that maybe he would play with was so helpful in the beginning. But like people I went to high school with, they came out of the woodwork and they were like, here, how can I help? What can I do for you? Like coworkers, like I mentioned, I was a teacher. Like this happened in July 2nd, and back to school in August. We were still impatient. My teacher bestie, Tiffany, put together my room for me. Like that wasn't something I was going to be able to do. Like she put together, like so many people came out of the woodwork to help that I never knew that I could count on like that. And yeah, they were just amazing. The people I went to high school, people I worked with, they were just amazing, and they were there for me. Like even my ex-husband and I are not together anymore, but even my sister-in-law at the time, she was like calling me like, what can I do? What can I send? What do you need? Just making sure I had basic things. Like I hadn't taken out my contacts in 6 days. I'm like, I could just use some contact solution. Like sending like the things that people don't even realize, like they have some stuff at the house. Like they got me a toothbrush and a toothpaste, but they don't have everything. Like, and if you go down to the gift shop, things are expensive. So yeah, they held me up. My teaching partner, Tiffany, putting my room together, making sure that I was okay to start school, even though I probably was not in the mental headspace to start school, but I did, because you do what you have to do. But like he had gotten out of the hospital and like was home, and then I went back to work, and a lot of it, like fell on his older brother who was helping at the time. Like, he's like, I'll just do online school and I'll be home. And we lived with my other sister-in-law at the time, and she was like, and I'll help and we'll be there so you can work. And so I have a really great support system, which helped. Like, I feel really bad for the people that don't. Like, because when this happens, you need to have people around you who are willing to hold you up when you're not able to hold yourself up. So they made a big difference in the beginning.
Yeah, it's the most important thing that you can offer to somebody when they're going through this is just being there and being available. Because I just had a guest actually that said something to me that really kind of brought it back, was that people say, "What do you need?" And the reality is we don't know what we need. You just need to offer something. Hey,
Yep.
I'm going to show up with food. I'm going to show up and do your laundry. I'm going to show up and watch your other kids, whatever. Just show up and offer something, and we'll appreciate it, because technically at this point we have no idea what we need. Our brains are scrambled and we're in panic mode and in shock and trying to understand and navigate all this. And that support system from beginning, to whatever the outcome is so crucial and important for us to survive mentally through all of this. And the absolute worst thing that you can do is say nothing at all and just
Hmm.
walk away. Because,
Yeah.
we need you here to be in our corner, not to tell us that we're doing a good job, but just to let us know that, that you're there for us and that you haven't forgotten about us and you don't feel like we're contagious or
Hmm.
something, and that your kids or your family are going to catch this. Because yes, it is a family diagnosis and it's something that everybody goes through in different ways, and you have other children that will be affected, and spouses, and whatever, and everybody's going to be affected a different way, but everybody needs that support from every single level. So, being the best person you can be, being that support system, there's really nothing that can compare to it in the end.
Yeah, exactly. There's not like, and you're learning how to do all of these things. Like when he got his NG tube and we were learning how to do it and he threw up so much, I had to learn how to reinsert it. Like you're learning how to do all these things. Like that's where your brain is. And you shouldn't have to think about some days, like what's for dinner because you can't. Like I'm thinking, am I going to need to reinsert this? And do I have the gel to reinsert it with? And is he going to be calm while I reinsert it? And is he going to fight me on this? When do I need to turn his feet on? And what happens if the line gets kinked? All of these thoughts are going through your brain, and simple thought, everyday things you should be thinking about, you just don't have the mental capacity to at that point. And there were a couple people that just like, hey, can I just bring you guys food up there? And I said, yes, like, please, let's try to get him to eat something because he wasn't eating a lot. Like, let's try this or let's try this. And maybe like we didn't always make the best choices, but for a while, all he would eat was the sausages from the hospital, the bacon from the hospital, and McDonald's chicken nuggets. And when you watch your child lose weight and go on an NG tube, you're like, whatever they will eat is what I'm going to put in them. And his doctor said it best. She's like, it's protein. He's eating protein. He could be craving worse things. Like, I encourage this. Keep having him just eat protein, like if that's what he'll eat.
No, you know what? And I'll tell you this honestly, because, we've dealt with it as parents going through this and in this community, we will constantly get dragged for letting our children eat what they eat. But you know what? Food going in is food going in. And when there's nothing going in, yeah, our
Mm-hmm.
daughter, yes, chicken nuggets were the other thing. Like my wife would have to wait until McDonald's opened to get the very first Happy Meal to bring it home every day, 'cause that's all she wanted. And when they're craving anything, when they go so long craving absolutely nothing,
Nothing.
yeah, you know what? Calories in or calories in, and I will fight tooth and nail till my last breath. If that really bothers you, if you seem to think that you understand that a chicken nugget is going to make it worse, no, we're already at our worst. Okay, our child is fighting cancer, and it didn't come from chicken nuggets. Okay, we have no idea these things, and we're trying to associate and make parents feel bad, and absolutely not. You know what? If your child wants it at that moment in time, then you let them have it, because it just for so long. And NG tubes, yeah, it's the same thing. Like I mirror this in watching that NG tube go in, which was probably the worst thing I've ever seen. But then when they come out and you have to try to put it back in, and when they do it in the hospital, a lot of it is X-ray guided, and they're making sure it's in the right place, all these things. And yeah, if they twist and they don't work, they're there is so much that goes into becoming a medically complex parent, whatever you want to call it, that I don't think we're asking for it, but we don't get the credit that we deserve as what we're doing every single day to keep our children healthy and alive. And, I've often said, and people can say what they want. I was asked one time, do you think that you're smarter than a doctor? And I said, yes, I am, but not because I have a medical degree, because I live it every day, because I don't get
Yeah,
to turn it off and I don't get to clock out at the end of the day. That's why. Not
that's
because I
true.
went to school for 10 years, not because of any of that, not because I think that our doctors aren't qualified, but because my daughter was not a patient number. Our care didn't stop when the holidays came, care didn't stop during COVID, and care didn't stop when she was on hospice. Then we became full time at that moment. So that's why I say that. And it's never meant to be derogatory, but that's kind of where we are. And I kind of think that I want people to see that is that, yes, these kids are going through the worst times of their life, but the parents and the family are going through it too. Everybody needs that support, but we need your understanding. And then we need you to listen so that we can change all of this. And more of us aren't living on the edge of our seat every single day, essentially waiting for the shoe to drop, but also watching other families around us going through the worst and suffering and watching their children pass away and not understanding why this is all happening when we're supposed to be in such an advanced world at this point, but we're using, as you mentioned, decades and decades old treatments and drugs for our kids that are really not even meant for kids.
They're not. Like, and I agree with you, like, because I got to the point where I could look at him and I could tell if he needed products. I could tell if, like, his levels were low and he's gonna need blood. I could tell, like, where there'd be like, well, I'm not sure. Let me do the labs and then we'll see. I'm like, I'm telling you, this is what he's gonna need. And it would always be what he would need. Like, you get to that point where you do know them, like, so well that you can just diagnose the things, like, right off the bat, like telling him, like, "This medication's not gonna work." Like, "You can try it, it's not gonna work." And then when he had an allergic reaction to the antibiotic, and so they put him on the other antibiotic, and then he had an allergic reaction to that one, and then he had to go back to the other one, there's things like, you're gonna you have to become, like, their advocate and say, "He's gonna need Benadryl before you give him this, and he's gonna need this before you do this," and you're the one that knows them the best. Absolutely. I agree with that. Like the doctors do care. Like I could watch his team, like they cared so much and they worked so hard for him to try to figure out what was going on and what treatment plan he should be on. But they see so many kids and they can't know them all like we know our kids. They just can't. So yeah, I agree. I agree 100% with that.
It's not it's really kind of a hard pill to swallow what we're forced to face every single day, what our kids are forced to face every day. And like I said, we had some really great doctors too, really great nurses and staff, and as an advocate, you really should, you have the ability to pick your team, pick your care team and make sure the right people are there. And as long as you get that team, you will have one family that knows you, that checks up on you, that will get to learn all of those different baselines. But at the same time, those teams have dozens and dozens of other families just like you. You are the only parent to your child at that moment that is going through this. You know them
Yeah.
100%. You
Yeah.
know what's right and wrong. You'll learn what they need in order to get to a certain point. We knew when it was time for transfusions before transfusions were ordered because of the way she would act, because of her appetite would drop and energy. Like we knew, and you could pick up on my wife better than me, 100%, but she would pick up on these things and know this is what's I know it's coming. And then we get the call and like, okay, nailed it. These are these things that, not a proud moment, I guess we shouldn't be hanging, but at the same time, you're figuring, these aren't celebrations we should be having, but you're figuring these things out and you know this stuff. And that's why I make that statement. Not to be derogatory. It's because we don't ever get to shut it off. We don't get to clock out and go home at night. We don't get to walk away and go home and have a glass of wine and say, God, that day was terrible.
Yeah.
Let's hope for another one tomorrow that's better. And we just have to watch it and hope that things get better the next day and pray and really just give our children the care that they deserve. And that's,
Exactly.
at the end of the day, that's the best thing that we can do for them, as aside from advocating for them every day and understanding that when you're in the room with them at any point, you are that doctor's only patient at that moment. never be afraid to ask questions, never be afraid to bring up ideas, never be afraid to challenge what you think there's listen, they're
Yeah.
human too,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yep. You have to become that advocate and you have to push for your child. And I think it starts to become natural because you're just like, hey, listen, this is what happened last time and this didn't work. And you can't use that. What are they? I don't even remember what they're called. The adhesive that went over his port. I'm like, and you can't use that because he's going to have a reaction and he's going to have a reaction. You got to use that one and you got to use that and you got to do that and you got to do, you know, like you're the one that
Right.
knows. So it
Yep.
just becomes natural.
And then you
Yeah.
become that mom when they're like, oh, here she comes again.
No, they loved us. They did loved us, but yeah, yeah,
But that's okay. You know what? That's all right.
yeah,
Because if to be honest with you, if they say, oh, here she comes again, here they come again, they're going to tell us how to do our jobs. That's because we're putting in, you know what?
yeah,
We care. If we
yeah,
didn't care, we would just drop them off at the front door and say, here, when you're done with your treatment, meet us at the car. You know,
yeah,
we're there with them every day. We're living through this. So
yeah.
yeah, I think you've, you figure this stuff out as you go. There really isn't a handbook on how to do this. I did meet an author that wrote one that was really, really
Mhm.
good that I wish I would have had, during our treatment. But I did not, prior to that. I say too that there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of books on how to raise kids, right? And I would say that a vast majority of those are written by people that don't have kids. They're just, and I think in this community, it's the same way. Like you can get, books on how to do things, but unless you're in it 100% every day, you're not, the experience means so much more, I think, than just hearing about it. Like being immersed in it, you can put those experiences out there. And what you do every day, yes, you're going through it, but you could help somebody else. You become part of those social media groups, those social media moms and dads and parents that are looking for that support. And now you can offer that to them. Now you can pass that along. And that is so incredibly powerful. And I know it is for us. So,
I try to give my little pieces of advice and say, hey, here's my son and he made it. Like I'm hoping you get there too, but that's part of what I've learned is that not ev- not every child gets this lucky to be here. And that was a slap of reality in my face too. Like watching people that you befriended lose their children and knowing unless you can get more people involved and more people fighting for it and more people realizing how important this is, that nothing is going to change. Like that you can't change unless we come together to change it. Like, so that's why things like this are so important. Like our children, they should matter. They should be a priority. And I don't feel like to the government that they are right now. And like our voices just need to get louder.
yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I can tell you that being a part of this community now for 5 years, almost 6 years, and seeing the ins, the outs, the ups, the downs, and really the bad of the fact of us, how much we get left in the dust when it comes to governmental affairs and legislation and all of that stuff. And it's never for me. Like I will say it till I'm blue in the face. This is not an LR, DNR. It's not any of that. It is the most nonpartisan issue in the world is our kids, because everybody should agree that they're the most important thing we have, the most important asset we have, and want to fight for them. And it's not about having a debate about who's right and who's wrong, because I will say that if you point me in the direction and you can pick from any list, and it doesn't matter to me, any politician, I will find you and show you their platform where they mention how they're going to do right by kids in some form. In some form, I will find you it, because they've all done it. Just like every presidential candidate says they're going to cure cancer, that's part of their platform, right? And that's all great. Then somebody finally stand up and let's get it done and let's
Yeah,
do something
exactly.
about it. So yeah, it is very hard to watch the people that are supposed to be there for us, supporting us as a country, as a citizen, as a family, whatever, don't seem to care about the one big problem that we have, and is that our kids are battling this every day, and the problem is getting worse. And we're
Exactly.
not seeing it better. And I say because we've been in it almost 6 years. In 2020, the number was 43 kids a day. Today, it's 47. You have 1,800 kids that are going to pass every single year from this. 1 in 5 will not survive this disease. And unfortunately, the way that I see it is that's looked at as acceptable loss. That one child out of 5, that's acceptable loss. We can deal with that. That's how I feel like they look at our community. And I don't think that that's okay. I don't think anybody should think that that's okay. I think that our kids are the only future that we have, no matter what they grow up to be. And without them, what are we really doing here? What are we really fighting for? Because there's really going to be nothing left. So, yes, they can't vote at 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, 14 years old. They can't vote. And I get it. That's, on us to be that voice, but they have an impact. And they're the ones, I love hearing them share their stories. I really do. Getting up in front of stages that's the most incredible thing ever. Their voices are the ones that are going to impact us to influence the change to make a difference later in life. So, yes, we all have our differences politically. We have our differences spiritually. We have our differences all the way across the board. But the one thing we should be able to come together on without argument, without fighting, without name calling, without hate, is that our kids are the most important
Yeah.
asset that we have.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just think like we used to have songs. I believe that children are our future. Like, so put your money where your mouth is and start putting them first. Like, and you mentioned how it's gone up by just a few kids, but our birth rate has also dropped. So it's like, it's even like, I think even one more is just too many. Like, and I don't think our kids should be dying. I just don't. Like, I think there should be enough research, enough treatment that even if they're getting something like brain cancer or they're getting osteosarcoma or they're getting some of these ones that have not great survival rates, that they are still surviving because we've got the best treatments that we could possibly have. And we just don't right now. We don't.
We don't have the options, and it's not a doctor thing. It's not a medical thing. They don't have the tools in their toolbox to treat these kids the way that they should be treated. Decades old drugs that are treating these kids, drugs that are being administered to these kids are the same ones going into adults. And we used to say in the beginning, we would say, well, they're just watered down versions, but they're not watered down versions.
Mm-mm.
They're the same version. And the way that they water it down is by spreading it out over a longer period of
Period of
time, giving
time.
it to you. So it's the same drugs. And as parents, when you're looked in the eye by a nurse who's dressed like a hazmat person, okay, and like double gloves and yellow and all this stuff, and they say, "Don't get this on you. Do not get this on you. If they pee, don't get it on you. If they throw up." And I don't think I've talked to a parent yet where at that moment they thought, "Oh my God, what do I do?" No, we've all said we don't care, because
Mm-hmm.
what is it doing to the inside of their tiny little body by the time that it comes out, if it's still that toxic? You know what I mean? Like that's not okay. That's not okay treatment. It's not okay options for our kids. It's not okay. We have got to find a better way, because what it does going in affects them later in life, to the point where these side effects are so bad later in life. And how do we combat that? That we have to come up with better options. It means that we've got to fundraise. It means that we have to shout from the rooftops. It means that we have to call our politicians and email them ad nauseum until they tell us to leave them alone, and then you do it again. You have to be willing to put your voice out and share your message every moment of the day, because it really only takes one person. It takes one person to hear your story that is going to make it go nuclear. And that's the hope in this community, I think, is that whether your child is in survivorship, whether your child is moved on in life and has now become a doctor themselves, or whether your child passes and guides you from, beyond,
Above.
it's like you're dealing with this for the rest of your life. And so we have to be willing to put in the effort to make all of this change for them, period.
Yeah. Because you just get more upset and more angry the more you watch and you see what not only your child goes through, but what other kids go through. And it's upsetting that it's still continuing and you want to do whatever you can to make it stop.
Yeah. Well, we just keep going and we don't stop. And honestly, it comes back to when people say, "I don't know how you do it." You say, because we were never asked if we wanted to do it. We weren't given a
Exactly.
choice. So we're here now. And because we're here, we'll stop when the fight is over. And at
Exactly.
this point, the fight is not anywhere near over. So we're going to keep pushing through, and we're going to keep doing things like this. We're going to keep, raising awareness by any way, any means possible. And we're going to be the best support system we can, because this by far is the greatest community that you never want to be a part of. It is the strongest group of people I've ever met in my life.
That's exactly what I say too. Like I would have never volunteered for this community, but now that I'm here, I can say that it's the best one. It is. It is. Yeah.
So it has been, I mean, it's not one of the things that I woke up one day and decided, this is a good idea. Maybe I'll just join this movement. But listen, there are plenty of people that get involved with us and want to and be by our side and help us out. And they're there for the right reasons. And I welcome that all day. But, we never asked for any of this, but it means that we were given a mission in life. And I think we're all put here for a reason. And I didn't think this was going to be my reason. Maybe my reason was to be a voice, was to be an advocate. I didn't think this would be the cause, but now I'm going to do it every single day. And I'm going to do it for this community. And I'm going to do it for our daughter. And I'm going to do it for our family because it's the right thing to do. And they all deserve it. My way that I look at it now, we could not save JC. We could not save her from this, but maybe we can save somebody else with what we're trying to do. And that's the goal.
And I like to think if people really knew what it was like and not like the things that they show on TV, which is not what it's like, that they would be as angry and upset as we were if they knew what it was really like. I have to believe that. Like, and by us sharing, maybe they'll just get like small little glimpses of how upsetting it is and how they need to react to.
I be honestly would be completely okay if we could remove said commercials from TV because they really portray what's not real. They portray a very, very small portion of what this journey is. And unfortunately, they don't show the real side of things. And to be honest, I wish that the commercials that you see regarding pediatric cancer more resembled those of the ASPCA commercials of
They go,
the
yeah.
sad, and listen, we've got 11 animals in this house. Okay. Obviously those commercials have gotten us in a way, but that's the thing. It's like, if you associated that in some way and did that for kids, yeah. Is it hard to look at? And will a lot of people change the channel? Yes. But it's the truth. It's the reality. It's not smiling and running up and down hallways. Yes. Are some of these kids, like you said, they become family to these doctors and nurses. And yeah, they're probably happy. Oh, I'm going to go see this nurse today. They're my favorite nurse. Yeah. But are they happy that they're going there to get medicine, to get their ports accessed, CTs and MRIs? No, they're not. And that's really kind of dampens the effect, I think, that we're trying to have by sugarcoating it. And we can't sugarcoat it. And I, of all people, am anti-sugarcoating all day. I'm going to tell you how it is and give it to you straight because it's the only way I feel like you're ever going to understand how real this problem is.
Yeah, I applaud the parents that are like recording things and taking pictures and showing what it's really like. Like, I wasn't in the mental space to do that in the beginning, but like, we need to get out what it's really like so we can get some change. Because if they're always seeing those smiling, happy St. Jude kids, they don't really understand at all.
I think it does put us in a certain hindered spot, and it's unfortunate, but I hope that if we continue to do this, then again, we can drown out that noise and we can show the reality of everything. And listen, I would love all day to work with all of these organizations, partner with them, show them. Like, yes, I agree with what the fact that you're doing great work or you're doing great research and all of that, 100%, but you've got to show it what's really going on. You've got to show the reality. It may hurt your bottom line. It may hurt your donations. It may hurt all of that, but people would really know because if you honestly ask people about St. Jude, if you ask them about how it works, if you ask them about acceptance rates and all of that, I would say that 90% of people don't truly understand how it works. They don't understand that it's a research hospital. Your acceptance is based on clinical trials that they currently have for the types of cancer that you're trying to get accepted for.
Yeah.
And it's not a hospital that you can just walk into. It's not like a children's hospital. And we all get asked the question. I don't think there's a parent I've talked to yet that hasn't been asked, hey, did you go to St. Jude? Did you guys reach out to St. Jude? Of course we'd. If you have to ask that question, then you need to pay more attention to what we're doing because yes, of course we did. Some people get accepted. We know families that have been accepted there, have been treated there, and are doing great. We also know families that have been denied multiple times because they don't have anything for them. That's the reality of it. It's not a knock at St. Jude for what they do. It's not an attack on them. I don't like the way that they're marketed, and I don't like the way that it's portrayed because I think it hurts us as a community as a whole.
I agree. And I don't know if we were lucky or unlucky, but Primary Children's is part of the University of Utah. So it's a research hospital. And so like our doctors didn't stay Like, they were moving on to somewhere else, but they would collaborate, like, across the country. They were collaborating with other doctors. So, like, I was looking things up online, but they would be coming to me and saying, "Hey, we heard from this other doctor about this, and these paired together seem to work really well for nausea, so can we try this?" Like, they were researching things too because that was the kind of hospital we were at. But not every hospital is like that, and I know not every doctor is like that. We just kinda got lucky that we live here where Primary Children's is one of the top-rated hospitals. Like, we just got lucky that we were here, but I don't think he would have got accepted to St. Jude. Like, his diagnosis was not one that, like, they're researching more about. It's not one that happens all the time. Like, I just heard of a family that got denied and can't go there because it's not one that they're researching about. So you're exactly right. Like, nobody really knows how any of this works until you're, like, thrust into it, which I think is a shame.
Yep. I think the biggest misconception, I think that, and I can say 100% that I'm probably guilty of it. Growing up, you see those commercials, you don't want to look at them, right? And you think that could never be me. But I would beg to the question is that when people see those commercials, they think everybody's getting fixed. If you go there, you're getting fixed. You're getting cured. Everything's going to be okay. And it's just not the case.
It's
And
not.
it's just a portrayal, I feel like, and I think other people do too. It's just a portrayal we get from it. And I think it just casts a light on what we're trying to do that it hurts us. And again, it's not a knock on what you do. It's not a knock on your research and the doctors that are there and the staff and all of that. It's that when you portray that everything is going to be okay, and to be honest with you, the biggest thing is that nobody gets a bill. I could give a shit about that stuff. You know what I mean? Honestly, like
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing for me because if you've got community and support, number one, that's not going to be a big deal. For us, our daughter over 520 days, her bills were $2.5 million.
Yeah.
Like and as a parent, you'll find a way. You'll find a way to make it happen. It's a great thing, but I don't know. It just doesn't need to be on the forefront. They don't get a bill, whatever. But it also makes it think everything's okay. And it's just not true. And we have to be okay with understanding how bad it is and showing how bad it is. Because without that, you're left with more and more people turning the channel, more and more people saying or scrolling past on Facebook when they see another kid in September because
Yeah.
oh, it's okay. It's no big deal. I've seen on TV everything's okay. It's not worth my time. It's hurting us as a community, and that's just how I feel about it. Again, it's not a personal attack, but it's just
Yeah.
how I feel, and I don't want it to be like that because we're supposed to be working together to make this problem better.
Yeah. And I just kept thinking in my head, if they spent 5 minutes on an oncology floor and just listened, they don't even have to, like, see what's going on. You just listen. You listen to the babies crying when they're being accessed. You listen to the sounds of other children throwing up. Like, you listen to parents crying in the little kitchenette room we had. Like, you just listen to the sounds. Like, your eyes are so wide open that they could just never be shut. And I agree with you that other parents and other community members need to see the reality of what it is because nobody portrays it that way.
No, and that's all we can do is continue to hope for that. All we can continue to do is share what we have as personal experiences and allow people to come into our world and understand how important this is to really continue to share what we do, but then also share what we do to other people and have them be okay with it and understand that, yeah, it's not a fun topic. It's not a glamorous topic. It's not going to get newsworthy, you know, stuff like that. But it's us. It's real.
Mhm.
It's parents. It's children. It's real life every single day. And you see news stories and they talk about in the community and the things that sometimes they cover. I wonder what a waste of media time that we're talking about this. And we should be covering what's going on every single day in this month should be nothing but kids that are fighting this and showing the realities. And there should be football games and there should be lemonade stands and there should be stuff everywhere. And we don't see that.
Yeah,
But
we don't.
But my goal is to get there. And one day I hope to be as big as all the organizations fighting for the pink, that we can then turn all of them gold as well. And so that we don't drown out each other, but we can work together. And I think that would be
Exactly.
my goal in the end. I think that's the perfect way to look at it because, again, it's never about silencing somebody else. It's about giving us all that voice, but it being as big as every other awareness month. And listen, every month is kind of about 400 different awareness days
Mhm.
or meanings to it. But for us, all we see is gold right now. All we see is
Exactly.
gold in this month. And I want everybody else to see that too. So that's my hope. And I hope that everybody else can kind of see that too, because if we get there, our kids are going to have such a better future and such an incredible chance at beating this meaningfully at the end and not worrying about all the other stuff and that 2-inch notebook that you get at the end of treatment that says all of this could happen because of
Mhm.
this. And
Yeah.
we hope that we can eliminate those.
Yeah. Exactly. I agree with that. It is a heavy topic, but I think I don't know of one of us who's not willing to talk about it. Like who just wants to like Max may want to pretend that it didn't happen, but I would never do that. So I'm like so open to talking about it. Like you want to know? You want to know how many times I caught throw up in my hands? I can tell you. You want to know how sick he was? You want to know what my worst moment was? I will tell you. Like, but I agree. Like, we definitely do not get the same coverage that breast cancer awareness does. And I have to think if we put more time and energy and money into researching and finding better cures for childhood cancer, that it's only going to have a ripple effect because we're using some of the same chemotherapy and some of the same treatment plans on kids that we are on adults. It's only going to affect it all, I think. But I'm not a
Yep.
doctor.
Yep. Not a licensed one anyway, but you know what but we're all in that boat now where we've taken on that kind of honorary but unwanted degree in
Yeah.
medicine and nursing and become those caregivers. And I think, to be honest, I don't think we would ever turn down the job because it's our kids and being there for them and doing this for them, whether it's speaking our voices or whether it's changing a whatever, we're doing it for them, and we will make that impact. It'll come. That ripple effect will come. It's slow. It's extremely slow moving, but you know what? Rome wasn't built in a day, is for a terrible way to say it. It was, these we're going to get there. And this is part of it. This is a small part of it, whether it's podcasting or social media or awareness days at your capital or whatever it may be, we'll get there one way or another. And we're going to do it together because, like I said, this is the biggest, strongest community I've ever been a part of. And if you're not going to shut me up, which means you're not going to shut this community up.
No,
So,
you're not shutting
so
any of us up anymore.
there you go.
Yeah. We're screaming loud now. We're getting louder. Yeah. Yeah.
This is number one has been just, I mean, a great conversation. And I like when they just kind of go like that and flow into it. And I feel like we could probably talk for hours and hours and hours. But what I will do and what I like to do is that when I get to the conclusion of an episode, what I like to do is ask my guests to give their best advice. So your best advice to either, and maybe both, but a parent or a family that's currently going through this, or maybe one that is just on the cusp of that diagnosis and really feels alone navigating through that, but also navigating through, the treatments and survivorship. So your best advice to them.
I would say it's the best advice that I got. Reach out to your communities. Get involved. If you're on Facebook, get involved in the Facebook communities. Reach out, follow every childhood cancer parent that you see on like TikTok or Instagram. We will be there for you. Like you ask us any kind of questions that you have, we will be there for you. We will answer. We may have to say, hey, I never went through this, but this is what I think you should do. Or your child is feeling this way. You need to contact your team. Like we'll give you the best advice that we possibly can. And we've been there. So nobody else is going to understand like another family that's been through it. And trust your gut. Like that's probably my second best advice. Trust your gut. If you feel like something is wrong, you push, you be an advocate, you don't let them tell you no. Like, just fight for your children. Like, reach out to the community because we're pretty awesome and fight for your children. Like, believe in your gut. That's probably my best advice.
I don't think that you could say it better. And honestly, I think that's the best thing ever is always trust your gut. 100%. If you think something's wrong, even if it's not, better to trust it, have it checked, and research it other than to just leave it alone. That trust your gut is something that I've heard multiple times. Mainly trust your mama gut, which I think is unmatched, you know, unmatched. But yeah, if you feel something, let somebody know, and it's the best
Yeah.
thing you can do really for yourself and your child. So
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
so I appreciate you taking the time with me today and talking, and I hope for the best for you guys and for Max,
Thank
and he
you.
just he continues to give you that teenage trouble that he's supposed to give
Me
you
too.
because
Me too. That
uh,
sass, yes.
there you go. I love it. Listen, I've got
Yeah.
a 17 and a 19-year-old, so I know all about the sass, and but yeah, it gets better, and I appreciate you spending the time with me. So thank you so much.
I appreciate you and what you're doing for our whole community. Thank you.
Thank you. It is an honor, and I will continue to share stories. So, again, thank you, and my best to your family, and we will see everybody else next week.